Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server and it's time to have a look at a new battle cruiser that is coming in for the British Blue Water Tech Tree. This is the HMS Repulse. It's going to be at rank 6, battle rating 7.0, and it's going to be just before the HMS Hood. So just after the Queen Mary that was just added and in that 7.0 slot. You may be kind of having a deja vu hit with the Repulse. This one is a Renown class, but it is different to the other Renown class that we have, which is the HMS Renown. This one was an event vehicle that turned up. The difference between them is the Renown is the 1944 variant of it, whereas the Repulse is the 1941 variant. The difference between them is the refit, so this one gets these turrets here and also gets a bit of a different setup to the bridge and the general superstructure, whereas the Repulse will be the earlier version of the good old Renown class. The Repulse didn't survive the war, got absolutely annihilated, and one of the interesting things actually is it was actually destroyed by Japan along with another very large ship. And the Repulse was supposed to be in the teaser trailer, but they didn't actually use the Repulse, they used the Renown. So I'm guessing the Repulse wasn't ready or something, or they just completely used the wrong vehicle. So this one is very similar in terms of its main armament, but changes a lot in its secondary armaments compared to the Renown. So it has the 15-inch guns, 3 dual mounts, 2 on the front here, and then also 1 on the back. Then it gets some really crazy and cool armaments. So first of all, it just has 6 single 4-inch guns. You can find them on the sides of the vehicle in these little areas down here. Then it gets 4 triple mounted 102mm cannons, and I love these things. You can see them right here, and I'm just gonna quickly go towards them just so you can see them a bit closer. Really enjoy this mount. I don't know why, but I just think it looks really cool. Where you have the 102mm guns, and then also you have the backing to them as well. They're really lovely model. By the way, if you have an Nvidia card, make sure to use Ansel in War Thunder. As long as you have DLSS turned off, everything works very well, and you can see all of these things very up close and see all of the little details that they add, such as this, to these types of vehicles. It's so cool. And by the way, it does also have some quad 12.7mm as well as part of its AA armament. So yeah, it has also the two Octo 2-pounders, which you will find on a bunch of other vehicles in terms of the British machines. So that is its AA complement, the 20mm, the 40mm, and also the 12.7s. So technically it doesn't have as good of a secondary armament as the Renown, but still pretty decent overall. It also has access to some torpedoes that you can throw out if you really want to. Generally, these torpedoes aren't the best, but I suppose they are in pretty decent places compared to a lot of other battle cruisers and ships, the way that they're set up, so at least you can use them in stuff like arcade, maybe get some reloads and try and put some pressure about 10 kilometers away from you. So since the Repulse is a battle cruiser, it doesn't have as much armor as a battleship. Remember, when it comes to battle cruisers, the general idea of them was to give you as much of a main armament as a battleship, so as much of a punch, but less armor. So it's a bit lighter, a bit faster, a bit more able to run around the place. And that's what the Repulse is. It has a 228mm rolled cemented piece of armor. It also has a 152 above. It has a bunch of armor around the ammo, or the ammo elevators of the guns, and then also has 228 on the front of the gun mass too. The bridge is covered with 254, and then it has a few other little areas of armor around the ammo, and also at the top here around the funnels and the engines of the vehicles themselves. One thing that when we were looking on stream at this thing, Teddy pointed out, is you can actually have a look here at the front of this machine, and you can see something kind of interesting, where it isn't just kind of like a straight line, it is curved. And the reason for this is because the front of this machine was designed to ram other ships if it needed to. So it's just a little tidbit of information, when you compare this to other massive ships, they look very different from the front. So yeah, imagine a huge battle cruiser ramming into another ship, even in this modern day. That sounds like something from Roman times, not from the First and Second World War. So yeah, it has a bunch of ammo for its main turrets in the front and also a little bit in the back, but most of it is taken up by these huge engines at the bottom and these huge transmissions and these two massive smoke funnels. These really are powerhouses in the center of this machine. It has a pretty standard fire director on it, 15 seconds for the calculation time and 8 for the update time. And the 15-inch guns, they are the Mark 1s, so they have the 1.7 rounds per minute. You can get them up to 2 rounds per minute aced, and also they have not great targeting speed, but they are very large guns. It takes them a while to get onto target, and with 6 of them, you can put out a decent amount of punch, but not as much as other vehicles at the same time. The 381mm or the 15 inches have access to the SAPC BCs as a stock round, pens 487 at most, and 58.6 kilos of explosive mass. You also have access to the APC BC shell, which is right here. It has 20 kilos worth of TNT equivalent and can pen up to 646mm. So with these guns, you will always be able to penetrate whatever you're hitting, and you'll be able to do quite a lot of damage to whatever you're hitting after. The 102mm do have the standard HE, doesn't have a lot of penetration, but they do get the SAP, which nearly pens 100 and has 520 grams of it. So not really that useful, but overall, at least, you have a bit of a choice between what you want to use. It does also have a hydroplane and a pretty interesting configuration. So you can see here, it's actually just sat on the deck. It isn't on like a rotating kind of swivel, which a lot of these machines are. Instead, it just flies off the side. Now, unfortunately, when I've tried to launch this, it has straight up just crashed my game. So I don't think it's ready yet. Hopefully at some point they fix that, because it would be really cool to see. So the Repulse is coming in at 7.0. I wouldn't say it's the best vehicle at 7.0. We already have the Renown, which is slightly better than it. But I will say it's going to be a competitor, mainly because it has these 15-inch guns. They have also changed the camera, by the way, on these machines. So the camera is actually put in a slightly better position. Therefore, the ship itself doesn't get in a way when you actually use the camera. Because one of the problems you would have is the camera would go over behind there, so you wouldn't really be able to see what was going on. It's much better in the way that it's set up now, and also just makes it a lot easier to use. So this vehicle is really nice. It's awesome to see another very large vehicle from the Royal Navy. Hopefully, when it comes to Gaijin and the Royal Navy, we can start adding vehicles that weren't horrifically destroyed during the Second World War. Maybe we could have some which actually didn't get monstrously blown up by the enemy. But who knows? Maybe that's kind of the charm of these types of vehicles. With the main guns, you can see that they're just going to fire. They're going to have a great time, penning quite a lot. And with the new graphical updates that they've made to Naval 2, you'll have a wonderful time looking at them. If they hit, which none of those really did. This will hopefully keep a lot of British players playing the higher echelons, make it so they'll enjoy it that little bit more. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.